Why, hello there. Welcome to my experience in DCS thus far. So you can see there that had a little bit of an issue, right? Had a little bit of an issue. Got hit by a missile. Typical things in DCS. If you're not hit by a missile, you're hit by, ripping your wings off in the F-14. So Walker here is my Rio. First, kind of like maybe third time flying the F-14. So very much new to the F-14. Coming from the F-18 is my first aircraft that I flew in DCS and pretty much learned pretty well. Yeah, so going back to this old shit is really spicy. Oh yeah, but it has delta wings. Whatever. But this video is going to hopefully shed some light on F-18 ability for laser guided, so air to ground capabilities of the F-18, how to use the lightning pod and stuff like that. Things that I did that made my life so much easier. Well, you're gonna find out in this clip. So just go ahead and just finish watching this little debauchery. Yeah, so you can hear that he's trying to coach me through, and I'm heading right towards a little cruiser group with some anti-aircraft capabilities. So very much a noob move. Still working on my situational awareness, because guess what? And from where I was coming from, Microsoft Flight Simulator was not very important. Yes, lots of loud noises of angry plane. Sounds like a very shitty phone from hell.
Oh, that's a missile.
Yep. So my Rio just called out missile, and we lost most of our plane. So this game is awfully beautiful in 4K, and watching this entire thing unfold was exactly how you expect it to be. It's fun as hell. What a lovely little clip to recap the fuckery that ensued on that fateful day. Goodbye, Tomcat. Luckily, we're still alive, which is impressive. Alright, so after that, I was just like, alright, well, I'm gonna go practice more with my bombing skills in my F-18. We're still on the Red Force here, and we kind of proved a point, or at least found out the hard way, that on this training server, it was made very difficult for people to gain any headway as part of the Red Force, because the Blue Force had planes out the ass, because that's what most people come in and play as, not to mention as many fucking boats as you can possibly fit on that goddamn bay and ocean. Aircraft carriers with a giant defense bubble, every single ship having a giant defense bubble, me shittily taxiing to the runway, the list goes on.
Laser guided bombing. The AAA, if you could figure out how to do that. Alright, Jester. I want you to go to Trackwell Scan Auto. Towards the
So here I am doing an absolute shitty takeoff, like absolutely garbage.
20,000 feet.
Yeah, fuck the runway. I like the grass. Almost clipping the radar with my wing like a pro. But we get up in the air, so that's all impressive. And surprise, surprise, this is my favorite aircraft, or the one I fly the most. Switching it to AA for some reason, even though I'm kitted out the ass. Or no, not at that point. See, I kind of slice these things together. So here I am in my F-18, really just trying to test out, just kind of learning the how the F-18 can do air to ground. I'm loaded up with some JDAM's 500-pound variety or 2,000-pound variety. I quite forget. I can't read it necessarily. But if you look at our HUD right now, that large vertical line, I'm going to say this multiple times throughout the video so that way you can remember. That large vertical line that's splitting my HUD, that is a azimuth indication about where I need to point in order for my bombs to be most accurate. Now, I don't get me wrong, I have no idea what's going on with my HUD right now. It's less than ideal, pretty annoying. But nevertheless, this is what I'm doing. And I think in this clip it's going to prove a point that to get the best results when you're doing these auto bombing runs, being level, maintaining consistent flight level. You see I'm at a negative 5 degree slope now, which is less than ideal for what I'm trying to do. That horizontal bar that just came down the azimuth indication line is important. It's kind of just a countdown timer. So there goes a JDAM. Who knows where the fuck it's going? I think I just selected a random patch of ground because I couldn't find my target for the life of me because I did not learn this trick. Oh, I dropped 2. Look at me. More freedom. Dispersing freedom by the kilogram. Now I guess the target, oh yes, I remember. Chipmunks were talking shit in the trees, and I said, fuck your tree, and here we are. But you notice, no explosion. It's because I fucked it up, right? So here I am learning, right? Trial and error. But you know, in real life, they don't give you trial and error in a $1 million aircraft. So I hopped into the tutorials and gave it a whirl. See, 83 Bravo, 84s. Dummy fire, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so here's a tutorial bit of me zooming around and really learning actually how to do things properly. Yep, see, dummy fire, bomb there. I tell you what, auto mode is the tits. Super, super awesome. And that was the first shot of the tutorial, and really fucking nailed it like a badass. And I completed the tutorial knowing everything that I knew before, and I got all my knowledge right there. I'm slapping into the configurations for each bomb. Those are I'm loaded up with some JDAMs right now. I'm loading in the code that the laser designator is going to be set to. This is very important. If you do not have your laser designation set, it won't work. And also, the bomb won't say it's ready. And I fucked that up. So you're supposed to go quantity to enter. Now the quantity, multiple, and integer is pretty simple. So you're thinking about in one action, right? So one bomb run. How many bombs do you want to let go off your aircraft? So in this case, I was going to do 2. So quantity 2, enter. Okay. Multiples are how many bombs are dropped at once, i.e., you know, so if I'm dropping 8, let's say I'm dropping 2 at a time, so on and so forth, right? Integer is the space in between hits, i.e., how many feet are in between blasts. So I had pretty sure I put it to 100 there, 100 feet. After I configured all my bombs, I configured only one set, so, you know, there I am, being a noob still. I'm just going taxiing across the flight deck of the Stennis over to Catapult 4, getting ready for some takeoff. I love the F-18. I love taking off from the aircraft carrier. Sure, you can do it with the F-14, but holy shit, does the F-18 make life so much easier. Going to full flaps, not really necessary. It's not the heaviest I've been. Don't even have any fuel tanks. Yeah, don't have any fuel tanks. This is literally just, ideally, this is, I know what I'm doing. I go out, I do the strike, and then I come back and land and rearm and go to the next mission. But, you know, in order to get the quantity and payload that I wanted, I needed to forego the necessary fuel tanks. Not to mention I'm shit at managing the fuel tanks anyway, so yeah, just a nice takeoff from the Stennis. Here I am getting my bearing to the target, and I just in those menus I just switched over to the FLIR mode. I went to air to ground, put the master safe to arm, and there's a button on the right side below the topmost one, which is V something. It locks your camera, your FLIR camera, to the front of your aircraft. Wherever your aircraft is pointing, that is where the camera will be pointing. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier to manage, but I tell you what, the tricks that I learned makes this so much easier to learn and so much easier to manage. So yeah, I cannot recommend this enough. You'll see the trick later on once we get through the video. Yeah, it's a little bit too far away to see exactly what I'm doing. But we'll talk about the settings here in a moment once we get to more of the video. Right now I'm actually just looking for the target, which you can see me heading for this giant cluster of fuckery that needs to be sorted out. Without this method, I had never been able to find the target location with the FLIR camera alone. So here I am banking off to the right of that target, of those targets, and if you press Alt semicolon, it'll allow you to slave. It basically goes into a sort of manual designation mode, where you are, if you're not using the heads-up display, you can use the actual, or not the heads-up. If you're not using the heads-up display, you can use the helmet-mounted version. And using the enter key, it allows you to, quote-unquote, manually point to a target, and the FLIR automatically follows. And I tell you what, this is the shit. This is the moneymaker. This is what you need to do. And I pressed a button and I fucked it up, alright? I pressed S, and then, I don't know what I did. I think I pressed one of the movement keys. That's a no-no. So I'm just trying to regain. Boom, just got onto target again, and my FLIR camera will follow. There's different symbology associated with the FLIR camera, so the different things will mean different things. Also, the number to the right of that reticle is not distance. Well, I mean it is, but it is measuring the distance that one of your crosshairs is measured, if that makes sense. So back there it was like 40 meters or something, so one of those lines on the ground is equal to about 40 meters. So it's kind of like a, you know, if you're like scouting out your bombing run, I guess, you can see what kind of interval you need to put your bombs at in order to get them, you know, largest area or cover the target area. So here I'm doing a bank at 200 knots like a retard. You know, 180. Yeah, I hear the tone. It's like, hey buddy, you should probably like speed up. So I do, eventually. I have my big boys, I think this is the 2,000 pound or the 1,000 pound JDAMs. I have those guys selected because I really want to fuck these guys up. You see I'm following that large vertical line. Super vital. You see that on my HUD there's on the right side below my altitude, there is auto, and there's, I think that's area, track, whatever. But there's a number below that where it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that bar that comes down the altitude or the azimuth indication, that is basically a timer telling you, hey, you need to press Alt and space by the time that goes down. Or, since it's auto mode, you literally just hold Alt and space and it will launch at the appropriate time for you. You don't actually have to do anything. You hold Alt and space, and when that counter ticks down, it will actually do its thing. And look at that. It went right on to where I had it. Super, super nice. As I just said again. Jesus Christ. So that was my kind of first taste of success with a bomb outside of a tutorial, where everything that I had to do was from what I learned. So it was very satisfying. Not as satisfying as a later clip. So you see me switching back to the heads-up display mode, where I'm going to mark my target using the heads-up display, or the head-mounted display, rather, HMD. And I got off the target by pressing S. That kind of resets your targeting and clears your targeting so you can designate another one. So I pressed S, did Alt semicolon again, and then here I am looking for the target again, so that way I can lay some more hate on them. Now, what I could have done is I could have left my indicator there, my designated area there, and I could have just moved the FLIR manually, but I am so against moving the FLIR manually now that I'm never doing it again. I will, but it's far more convenient to do this. But that switch that I went to on my leg panel, I was making sure that the laser designator was armed. If it's not armed and it's unsafe, you won't be able to laser the target, i.e. your JDAMs will not have any guidance to their target. So there I'm marking kind of like the general area, I guess. That was not really on target for anything. I don't know if I go in there and manually adjust the FLIR, or if I reassess the target visually with the head-mounted display. Either way, I found the area again. So that was my biggest problem before, is finding the general area of where the bastards are. And you can see that lovely arrow on the head-mounted display pointing me to where I need to go. So, all these tools that are given to me for situational awareness, super nice. You see on the right side of the indicator of the heads-up display that you see the auto sign or auto indication, meaning that I am in auto mode for my bombs. Very nice. It also shows me my distance to the target. Typically I'll go out 10 to 15 nautical miles from my target in order to get proper time to get a consistent velocity or a consistent airspeed and consistent azimuth and consistent altitude. Those three things coincide to making your bombs extremely accurate. And we're coming upon the point where the server decided to give me a spooky scare. Cue scare now. Oh, and now. There we go. your display is not frozen. You don't need to go to Best Buy. You don't need to return anything. The game had frozen because of the server. Yeah, and thankfully, the server was so kind enough to let me save my flight and save my airplane at the last possible second before things would have gotten really bad. And here we are on the pull-up. Yeah, so everything was screaming at me like, hey, buddy, you might want to pull back. So it's like I blacked out, pretty much. Welcome to Blackout Simulator 2021. Here we are. But look at me going right on to pretty much the azimuth I need to be. You see now that I'm facing the azimuth that I need to. Underneath the auto indicator, there's a counter that's counting down with the REL for release. This is very important. That's telling you how the countdown before your bomb needs to leave your airplane. It won't leave your airplane until you hold default or right alt and space, which is your weapons release button, I believe it is. So I'm going down to the FLIR, taking a peeky. So, very vital. Pressing right alt and slash or question mark allows me to control the FLIR. So what I had just done was I got the general area with the head-mounted display, and then I used right alt and slash to then move that reticle onto the target location that I want to, disperse freedom to. Release. I just released, I think, a 2,000 or 1,000 pound JDAM. You see the laser countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then time till impact is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you see the flashing mark, meaning that is being flashed and destroyed. Got the entire group that I just designated. That was very satisfying. Yeah, so after so long of not being able to get a target, find the target on the FLIR, this is the #1 method of doing this. I cannot tell you how stoked I was and so happy to finally be successful. So here I am, assigning the code to the next round of bombs. These are the lighter ones. I think these are the 500 pound ones because they're on a specific adapter. I think I have 4 of them in total. So I'm going to do 2. I fuck it up. You got to press enter. So quantity 2, enter. Multiples of 1. Got to press enter, asshole. So make sure you configure your bombs, okay? Very important. So yeah. Yeah, I'm fucking with the trim now because, well, the aircraft is level now, but the previous trim settings are not gone, so now it wants to go the other way, so yeah, basically my life sucks. Okay, you see that I'm 14, it looks like, 14.5 nautical miles from target. 15 nautical miles from target now. Who knows what I'm doing at this time. Oh yeah, waiting for the game to catch up, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. And there the game finally freshens back up. Unfortunately, I didn't get the TAC view of this. It cut out the last portion of the flight or the mission when I got the devastating kill. So probably next time we'll be featuring some of the TAC view footage of that. Future ones at least. you know, game server. I mean, the server had been performing really well previously, pretty much all day. It kind of went down, now. Yep. Yeah, see, so. Yeah, so that's fun. So yeah, in the future, folks, this is more or less just me showing kind of the process that I had gone through into figuring out how to successfully do a bombing run in DCS using the F-18 with the Lightning Pod, dropping some JDAMs and dispersing freedom. Right now I'm getting ready some TAC view for a little review, but that'll just be the backdrop of me talking. I plan on doing another video where I fully dissect just the basics of the actual Lightning Pod. I'll go over the buttons, and I recommend taking a look at Grim Reaper's video. That was a very useful tool when it came to learning how to do what I did. Not to mention the tutorials. Play the tutorials. Yeah, which one is this? I have no idea. TAC View is a fun tool as well. I love it. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, if you are. And as always, have a good one.